what do you think about the end of the Darksaber?
Whack! Makes sense.
It's good.
I think one of the biggest problems, okay, this is, I think, in my opinion, the biggest problem with the show is that there is no risk-taking. Welcome back to the Shade Cinema podcast. I'm Chris, and these are my good friends, Mr. Auden, another Auden.
What do you mean by that?
Mr. Alex, Mr. Panos, and another new guest, Mr. Harry, or you want to say your real name?
Yeah, if you can try to pronounce it, it's Harad.
Yeah, baby!
So today we're going to discuss The Mandalorian Season 3. It's a pretty divisive topic.
Controversial.
Pretty controversial. But before we actually start, I want to ask you guys to leave a like and subscribe to the channel.
Ballsy.
And a good message from our friend Drake.
I want you all to subscribe to the Shade Cinema podcast. And don't forget to hit the like button or I'm going to post hentai to my story again.
Hey, yo.
Yo! Also, thank you so much. We reached one of our big milestones, which was 150 subs, like a while ago, probably a month ago. Every time I wanted to... Every time I wanted to mention it, I kept forgetting about it. I kept forgetting to write it in my notes. And every time afterwards, I was like, why didn't I mention this? But I think we're sitting at around 166 subscribers at this point in time. So I want to thank you all for that. Also, special thing in this episode, if you can find a hidden pop somewhere in this room, shout out to you in our next episode. So the first question I have is, what is the main theme of the show? By main theme, it's what is the deep, what's the message behind the story?
Do you mean for this season or as a whole?
This season, because obviously the message beforehand is all about fatherhood and stuff. But what is the main theme, if you were to describe that?
Motherhood.
Mommy sack off.
Oh my God.
I would say kind of loyalty, maybe. From maybe from
What do you mean by that?
From Bo-Katan's troops, loyalty. What does it come from? From the Darksaber, from what Din Djarin told Bo-Katan from her character, or what was the other one? From her respect, I don't know. It comes a long way, loyalty. So maybe.
So loyalty to the cause of being a Mandalorian.
A Mandalorian, or the leader or the ruler of the Mandalore.
Okay.
Mandalorian, so.
Honestly, I would say it's about legacy. What else? I'm trying to find the word for it, but I guess culture, legacy, culture, heritage. I guess in some sort of way.
Okay.
Yeah. What about you, Panos?
I would say it's more about community and rebuilding. I would say
so. Rebuilding a community.
Those are the main themes. Well, not necessarily. More because rebuilding on a personal level and rebuilding together as well. Let's say with Bo-Katan, she also has a personal arc of building herself back up after she fucked up with Moff Gideon the first time around, and you see her not really knowing her place. She even joins the covert, the Mandalore, the Children of the Watch for a bit, and starts following the way, quote unquote, for a bit, trying to find her place. And she's not immediately jumping to yeah, I'm just gonna unite all Mandalorians, right? It was more of just a vendetta against Gideon, and then it evolved into actually trying to incorporate all the Mandalorian sects and taking back the planet, for realsies, not just to kill Gideon. And then community, obviously, the different sects merging and
The different
uniting
sex.
Anyway, how is your sex life?
Underground.
Yeah, I kind of want to agree with what Alex said. I think there's more of a theme of family, no?
Okay.
With Grogu and Din, I think there's a good father and son thing going on there that we're trying to see in the first 2 seasons. That's continued in the 3rd season. So I want to say family. You see the coverts, you see the Children of the Watch, you see kind of those remnants in the Din Djarin's covert. You see then Bo-Katan's world. It's kind of 2 families coming together and trying to live together. I think it's family. Family is a good theme, let's say, for the season.
Okay. I think if it was for me,
what do you think, Chris?
No one asked.
in my opinion, I think it's about tradition and how tradition should be maintained or evolved. Like in the same way as you see the Children of the Watch, the way they have their tradition with the helmets, and then Din Djarin being basically excommunicated from it because he broke the law of being a Mandalorian. But I think also it's also about changing tradition to kind of fit into a new world, in the same way as the Children of the Watch saw other people who were like, let's say, like Bo-Katan's group as all like apostates. They had to learn to accept those people to join their ranks and stuff in that same way.
Yeah, so basically tradition, culture, religion, like anything that encompasses like a big community of people who have the same beliefs and values. And
apparently it has some, there's like
political science.
Poli-sci. Apparently what?
Concordia.
Oh, okay.
That's
that's
a line in there. Hey, I'm just saying.
I was thinking about that. Why you I said they're space Jews.
Oh yeah. That's exactly what I was gonna say. They're space Jews.
You've been watching
like
too
the
much Screen
helmets
Crush.
are to keep us, or
You have to
what?
stop watching Screen Crush, bro.
Yeah, I literally have to stop watching Screen Crush.
But they are literally
What do you do?
it's literally space Jews though.
Yeah.
What makes
You do
them?
got a point.
What makes them?
Because
Jewish?
apparently they're like very like they're like the acidic Jews where like they're very like in community, like they never remove their helmets, like all that. So they're making a lot of
Acidic Jews never
they're
remove their
making
helmet.
they said season 3 has a lot of religious like thing, like the baptism like in the water.
The title, even
But
look at the
baptism
titles
is
of the title of the episodes, you know, right? The
the covert
sorry,
convert.
convert. There
Yeah,
was
Spies.
The apostles.
Spies.
Convert.
But like they were saying that about
Oh no, I'm not trying to make a Kanye comment. I'm just saying that title, like shit, disturbed a lot.
Spies. Yeah, there's so many theories going on. Like, oh my god, who are these spies? You know? Yeah.
And then turns out it's literally
No
nobody.
one. No, well, is it nobody or they still didn't announce it?
no
yet?
honestly I think it
Bro.
was just I think everyone
I don't trust Disney
went,
to write that far.
they
ahead.
went over their heads, bro.
Yeah.
Like basically the episode just called the spies because I guess like Moff Gideon and like
had the spy.
that council and what's the bitch's name, the girl who's working
The-
for the New
Elia
Republic,
Kane.
Elia Kane. So I think like they just put that as a title. Like honestly, it was whoever came up with that title, like it was a bad
Should
title.
be-
Yeah,
should
for
be
that
it was a
fired.
bad
Just threw it
choice.
on there.
It was-
Just threw it on there.
Yeah.
Because they didn't have anything.
It should have
better.
been like
But, like,
the,
people trying
the
to draw
secret
out-
council or some shit like that. That would have
Or
been like
deceit or something. But I don't
What was the council's name?
But even
This,
then,
is it called the secret
Or
council?
even the ambush.
Shadow
Oh,
Council.
it's just a bunch of
Shadow.
warlords.
The shadows or
Or
the shadow?
yo,
Just like
they could have literally called it Return to Mandalore.
Or even
Yeah.
the ambush. It could be a lot of things.
No,
I
but
mean,
ambush
one of
then
the
you would-
episodes is literally
Or-
called The Return.
Yeah, there was one. No.
That's literally the last episode.
Yeah.
That's what it's called.
In
Oh yeah, the return. Yeah.
Last
The return
episode.
The last-
the
one.
return of who?
Well,
The
it
Jedi.
was the last episode.
But I think
comes back.
I think though that highlights like a bit of a problem. Like not to be like a shill or an apologist, but like people are like really trying to dissect plot points from fucking episode titles when there's
Yeah.
nothing in the
Yeah.
episode to
I
tell
agree.
you like. Like I was trying to make up some bullshit reason that the armor could be the spy,
Spy,
like
yeah,
the
I
second
heard that
spy or
going
something,
around.
or
Because
that
it's a-
Axe Wolves the set. But it's like, if you're really thinking about it, if you didn't see the title, there's nothing to indicate
Yeah,
that
you would
anyone's
never thought
betraying
about
anybody.
that.
Yeah.
You're right. I think
Well,
the
why
title
would-
was stupid.
I think because people thought it was the armor because they saw that the armor gathered up a bunch of Beskar
And not just that, it's
as
like
the stormtroopers.
Yeah, but what's
were
the
coming.
motive? There's no motive.
Yeah.
though.
there's
That's
no
the-
motive,
Yeah.
but then people were piecing stuff together where it's just cool theory, but like it had no.
It was like a
substance.
conspiracy
It had
theory.
no
Yeah, it was
basis. It had
fun,
no
but
basis.
anybody who took it seriously, it's like, nah, it's on you for thinking or something was.
But there were really, really good theories out there. Like
The armor
there-
theory was kind of cool.
It was
Like
cool
the-
to have that back though in
Mm.
Star Wars for a bit,
True,
right?
true.
Like the
No, like,
theorizing and stuff.
There was a theory that it was Axe Wolves just because they stole the ship, like Moff Gideon's ship, and he had access to communicating with them, and they made a deal or something. Because he was the first one to get out when they
Yeah,
when
so
they saw
everyone was, like, saying-
right when they saw they got ambushed. He's the one who left when they saw
Dipped.
that whole he dipped. So maybe.
Okay.
So
But
like
it was
maybe-
really good theories, and if you lined it up, it was actually really good. But
I mean, it was also bait that the armor just left with the.
well,
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
They
will
were
because
hearing them on the ship. They
Or the
just
thing that
left.
people were saying, like the remnants, they were there for so long and nothing had happened. So they said it's sus that like they survived there for
yeah,
that
that
many
too.
years.
Yeah,
And they brought him right to the forge
to the
right when
yeah,
they
like,
got
oh,
ambushed. So it
we
was
know where
like,
that is.
yeah,
maybe they didn't dare.
kind
to
of
go
sus,
on.
bro. Where are you taking me,
I don't
buddy?
think it's sus. I think it's a problem with the writing though.
Going off of my old traditional thing point, which was I made that about 3 years ago. To what extent should we maintain those traditional values in terms of like their society? Because we have to look at it this way, right? They have a society that's basically in hiding. And to what extent should they maintain those traditional values? Should they like evolve to become more accepting of like removing masks, let's say, or their helmets, and trying to enter more into like the societies?
Okay, well, on Navarro, the vaccine supply was really low.
Oh my god,
So-
bro.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Honestly, that's a good question.
You know how hard it is to print a bunch of passports for people who don't take their helmets off?
What do you guys actually think?
Mandalorian Airlines, it's just a jetpack ride.
Wait, how did they not have enough? Sorry,
Yo,
okay,
no,
we're gonna
no,
get there.
okay,
We're gonna
we'll
get
get
there.
there. But yeah,
That's something else, bro.
Let's not talk about that.
writing.
Writing a
Sci-fi.
Right.
Okay.
Well,
Honestly,
I
that's
think
a good-
it benefited them, I think.
I think that's a good question though, because I feel like at the same time, it's good for everyone to like rethink about like their traditions and like kind of evolve a bit, because like, you know, some stuff like maybe like it's good for a change. You know, change is always good at some point, but at the same time, like we know why they were like that all those years. It's because of everything that went on with the Clone Wars and the Purge, and since they lost so much with Civil War and stuff, so I felt like the only way for them to like survive not getting massacred by the Empire was fully keeping their helmets. So they never knew who the fuck Mandalorians were. So they could never like, hey, like I know you're a Mandalorian, you're getting arrested, you know? So like they definitely have a reason why they act like this, and they're so anal about like their tradition and stuff.
I mean, yeah, I think they regress to their old ways,
Exactly.
their primitive self, to defend themselves,
Yeah.
get a basis somewhere, and then start from that. And now we're seeing them build off, right?
Yeah.
Now we're seeing them evolve in a
We're
sense.
seeing them all reunite, bro, because for the last like I don't know how many, like a century, like they've been at war. There's always like the pacifist Mandalorians, and then there's like the more extremists, and then like when then Maul took over, so then they even got more split, and then the Purge and all that. So like yeah, they were very like spread out a bit everywhere. So now at least like they're building towards something. So like they're joining as a community, and like it doesn't matter if you wear a Mandalorian helmet or Mandalorian armor and you consider yourself Mandalorian, like everyone's coming together. So like hopefully maybe with that they'll start a new tradition, which if you feel like you want a new line. And then maybe like the new lines, like the like if you feel like you want to remove your helmet, like you should feel free, because like you're part of your community, and like no one's gonna exile you.
I mean, we saw that in Bo-Katan, right?
Exactly.
She was kind of dipping in both worlds. She took the creed.
She double dipped.
She took the creed, right? But she was also allowed by the armor to take the helmet off.
Yeah.
So I think that's a progression in their ways. Pretty sure.
Yeah.
Well, she walked
there's
both
also,
ways.
like-
She walked
It also raises an interesting question though, like who gives the armor, let's
The
say,
right.
the right to be like, oh, it's chill for you. But I do like that they didn't cop out though, and at the end of the season, like have like all the children of the Watch remove their helmets in some really cheesy like
Yeah.
cool
Oh, yeah.
or
I
something.
accept this new way.
I would have liked though for when they had the fucking Looney Tunes ending there at the end. If, like on his own private property, like at his crib, he took off his helmet for the kid.
You can, yeah, that's true.
Just for the kid. That
cool.
would have been like, I don't know. It's just
But
like
he can't show his helmet to anyone. So it's like he takes it off for the
he
kid.
can
The
show
kid
his helmet
turns
to
around.
everyone. It's his head. But no, he's already
You
shown.
break it, you bought it.
He's already the only times he's taken his helmet off anyway is for the
For
kid.
the kid, yeah.
Bro, you have to click it. Don't fucking bend it like that.
Click what? How do you? Oh, there's like a button here.
Yeah,
Bro,
bro,
you
you're gonna
break
break
it,
it,
you
man.
bought it.
Yeah, there you go.
You bought it, buy it.
But no, you know why? It's because the armor is the Messiah, bro. And
But-
Bo-Katan Moses.
But
Grogu is Jesus.
And Mando is just some guy.
Mando is Joseph.
It's like, why am I in this?
He actually looks
innocent
like Joseph
bystander.
without the helmet.
Right? Oh, Joe.
Well,
Zip.
Joe Katan.
Joe Katan.
But who's to say the armor?
Bobo's Bizarre Adventure.
Oh my god.
Boba's
He really
Bizarre
went there. He
Adventure.
really went there.
Daddy.
Daddy Pedro Pascal.
I'm gonna come.
Wait, Auden, interesting.
Yeah,
But who's to say that the armor is the leader, and if so, like, what made her be the
But
leader,
to me,
you know.
to me, it makes sense because she's kind of the
She's the one who
centerpiece
preserved
of the.
everything.
She's the centerpiece of the tradition.
Yeah, like she's
She
the one who
is-
preserved everywhere. Probably found like Mandos here and there. Wait, like let's say before season 1, like the armor went world by world and found people and grouped them all together, and then they were living together. Like probably that's why. So people just assume that she's like okay.
Also,
she's
because
one.
she's the armor. It's
Yeah, it
kind
could
of like
also be
she's the
because they
harbinger.
treat
Okay.
weapons like their religion, right? They say
So
that.
Because
she-
look
she-
at
Right.
the world in Mandalore, the Forge was the main focal point, and she's the one that's controlling.
And she's
it.
actually
Yeah.
skilled in that. so,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, she's probably the only one out of everybody who knows how to make armor.
Actually, we've never seen anyone else make armor.
Yeah,
It's true.
so she's maybe one of the only
Well-
ones, so they respect her. So they put her on
Gideons
top of the
Armor.
hierarchy.
Yeah, she's the only
That's
one
the
that
thing.
could-
That's where you,
Hey,
that's
yo.
that's where you can say that like okay, wait, did the armor help Gideon?
Gideon make
Yeah,
the armor.
making-
Because she's the, out of everyone in the show that we've seen, she's the only one who knows how to make armor.
maybe the other, like there were other people that could do it, but they just didn't out of respect for the armor.
Maybe.
Like maybe that was her
Mhm.
role, and then she just
It
didn't
could
want
just be
anyone
that the
to
rest
help.
of them just didn't know
But
how.
the
Yeah.
the point being that the like to maintain like to what extent should we maintain traditional values? To me, that's like in their situation because they're in such a dire strait. Usually, when a nation or whatever they fall pretty far behind in terms of their survivability, they tend to revert to traditionalism and stuff and fundamentalism. You see this, let's say, in nations that have fallen apart. Like Kurds are very traditional people, for example, but they don't have a nation. But if they had a nation, for example, eventually over time they would begin to be more progressive.
Yeah, well, when you have statehood, you can also see it as like a safety net to dip your toe in progressing in certain things, right?
Yep.
Because when you're traditional, you're trying to survive above all else, right? So that's why you're trying to organize society in a sense of you have this job to do, you have that job to do.
Yeah, because your base goals are different. In
Yeah.
a comfortable world, everyone has different jobs. In a
Yeah.
primitive way, you're fighting for survival every day, basically. So
Yeah. So for example, if in a progressive Mandalorian society, the armor can go from being an armor to being a stripper.
it's a
From
essential
putting
way.
armor on to taking armor
armor
off.
Hey, oh.
Have you seen the actress
The
though?
disarmorer.
Yo,
This
the
armor.
actress though.
The
Have some
actress is
respect,
actually
y'all.
like
I haven't seen this one. What is it?
the,
Bro,
just
she's
the
cute.
actress of the
She's
armor.
really pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's
I
pretty.
haven't seen her. I have to
Yeah,
Google it. I have to
she's-
look it up after.
She's older, but
Her name's Emily Swallow.
yeah.
Oh.
Oh, go, okay, relax.
Oh,
Get your minds out of the gutter, for fuck's sake. It's just a name.
Subscribe to the Shade Cinema Podcast, motherfuckers. Do it now.
To what extent should we maintain traditional values?
I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I mean, like there's definitely some things
Unless
there
it's a Razor
where
Crest.
they've made the covert like so strong, like through, like let's say resorting to more like primal practices, and more tribal practices, right? So it's not just about reverting to savagery, but it's also like things specific to their culture have helped them survive.
Don't you think that builds a bit of stagnation though? Like if you just stay within your old ways, you never progress, right? Yes, it's gotten to you for a comfortable life. You have like your people are thriving, let's say, but don't you think that stagnates after a while?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just like a real politic kind of thing. You could look at it where it's like you start, like you need to build your platform first, and then from there you can afford to go like more of a liberal route or more of like like let's say focus more on individualism, that kind of stuff, constructivism.
I find that progressivism is typically the whole purpose of progressivism is to fix a problem that exists within the society. Like the Mandalorians currently don't have a problem that's glaring, like a glaring problem.
Yeah, like what would they do right
that
now?
would go against, like they have to fix a problem that goes against traditional values, right? So for example,
them having members of their
like
not
that's
having the helmets.
let's say that, right? So their progress for them would be people who come into their covert or their group that aren't people who are in their eyes traditional Mandalorians.
Let's say born in it and follow the way. Let's say.
this is the way.
Also, which is interesting. You say born in it because that hits up to the next point, which is should a society be homogeneous or a melting pot? Homogeneous, if you guys don't know the definitions, homogenous beings basically like one society has like a one group of people, or born in it means that they have, or no, sorry, melting pot means that it's people who come in from the outside who make like who fill up the society's roles.
I think melting pot at this point, because since they were so like
They're few.
scattered everywhere, like around the world, and there's so many different houses. Like as we seen, like at the end of like Rebels, you know, there's like everyone was separated, so it's better like everyone comes in together, and then eventually maybe one day when everybody's joined together, it's like homogenous near the end.
Okay, so homogeneity would happen slowly over time.
Slowly over time, when every Mando is like every Mandalorian is together on Mandalore.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think you
like
need
that's where
numbers,
everybody's
right?
home is basically.
If you need numbers, you can't just have small sects be separated from each other and then call it, oh yeah, we don't want outsiders to come in because it's going to be a melting pot, and I don't want that, and I want everyone to be homogenous. It's not going to work like that. So,
but also depends on also like how you define like your cultural identity, right? Because you have some people, let's say like you had like economic developments and high economic activity in like the England region in like the middle of the last millennium, like, and then all of a sudden, like, you know, that gave people the idea that, oh, we're all English here, like, but it's not like they had the same ethnic background or they had the same necessarily, they hailed from the same culture or society.
Well, yeah, they were like,
but that's kind of what started, let's say, the English identity. But then you look at other things, and it's more so it falls in along the lines of like things that are salient. So let's say race, which can be defined either by ethnicity or like, let's say, geographically, like where you come from.
Yeah.
The religion you follow, you know, even like, let's say, just like societal behaviors, like whether you are like more prone to like socialist activity versus like, you know, being more of a capitalist, or, you know, just things like that. So really it depends. You could have dedicated, like ideally I think what would work best is if you had like dedicated melting pots across the world, and then everyone also just had their own place. So then if you want to just stick to your own, like let's be real, a lot of people still, and honestly probably most people, whether you like to admit it, you have some kind of like, you know, biases in you, like whether you're like a lot of people could be like racist on a lot of things, or like they may like paint you with like a large brush if you say you're atheist, you're religious, you're this, you're that. So like if you could just fuck off back to your own place with your own echo chamber, sure, you won't grow as a person, but some people don't even want growth, they just want stability.
Stagnation.
So if you just keep them away, let them stagnate, they'll rot away, they'll collapse, and then people in a melting pot can prosper because they're like bringing in like so many different
viewpoints, or right, kind of.
Gogorta's cock and shorts of. I was trying to swallow without like
and
making any noise. No. Yeah, but yeah, basically that. It's but I mean, you could have shit like let's say socialism works in Sweden because they're all it's an ethnocentric state and there's only Swedes there, right? So it's easy for everybody to coordinate when you have like, let's say, something like that. In common.
Like for example, the example I thought about when I asked myself this question was, like, you have to look at let's say Canada, which is relatively ethnically diverse, and you have to look at Japan, and Canada obviously has problems, but it's a melting pot, and Japan also has issues as well, but it's more homogenous. But in Japan, the homogenous state basically makes it where it's very difficult to get into the country, but once you get into it and once you learn the language, you learn the customs and stuff, then they start to accept you as a member of that society. But in Canada, it's like you walk in, it's like, oh, you're Canadian now.
Because I want to argue there, I've watched a lot of like informational videos and whatnot about Japan, and there's a lot of barriers. There's so many barriers for Japan. If you don't speak the language, already they class you as a foreigner. Even if you live there, you have a house there. If you don't speak the language, they automatically, like, if you even try to, you have to be really well versed in their language. Like, they really treat you as a foreigner if you don't know Japanese. I've seen a lot of videos about that. Like, they see you, they already treat you like a different person, like a different class of person.
Gaijin.
I'm gonna cry.
And that's something we don't have in Canada, right? It's just English or French.
Yeah, and then
it's predominantly
you have
English.
your own languages.
And then like obviously there's people who like say fucked up shit, but if you speak English here, even if it's barely, like, you can
You're
get
still
by.
considered a Canadian, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You can be here for a year and you're like, oh, I'm a Canadian, whatever.
As long as you take the vaccine, bro, you're fine.
You're fine, bro. Choose vaccine,
but the thing is, like, the society for them
Canadian
in Japan,
blood now.
But for them in Japan, the society functions better if it's not like a very ethnically diverse country. It's like as fucked up as that sounds to say, but that's kind of what it is. Their society just doesn't function that way. But for here, it functions well because it's always been a melting pot. The Canadian culture has always been about people coming in. Same with the US. It's always about people coming into the country. In Japan, they had a long time of closing itself off. And you can even see this, like, even in the show, like, Axe Wolves at some point says, like, they're not even real Mandalorians. They're just foundlings. And then it's like, oh, well, yeah, but they took the creed. And then Axe Wolves was like, okay. And then there's no race war issue here, which would have made the show, like,
rumbling.
Yeah, which would have made the show, like, more interesting, like, but
foundling. It's all about the foundling.
This is the word.
I never expected the intros to go screamo. So yeah, sorry. Like, did you hear in that song? Part of the intro has like some Rasta in there.
Rasta.
Nick Cannon. Run it back. Nick Cannon could repopulate Mandalorian
in 1 month.
Cannon DeLorean.
But yeah, that was my point. Like, melting pot, because it depends, bro. Like, I think Mandalorians are kind of like Japanese in the sense where they're always averse to outsiders, and they were always, how can I say this? They were always kind of xenophobic in a way, like oh, we're Mandalorians, we're better, but they spend too much time fighting against each other.
Identities identities that are focused a lot on conquest. Right, you could see that in Japanese culture and in Mandalorian culture, right? So it's like, I think it's actually just like the protectionist, like isolationist. It's us versus the world kind of mentality comes from, like, when you prosper through conquest, eventually you need to dehumanize the people that you're conquering. Right, because it's just not going to sit right with you otherwise, right? And so Mandalorians have like hundreds, if not thousands, of years of history of them just going around being like the big dick in the outer rim and just like slapping everybody into place. Like, so it's just you know what I mean?
Darksaber.
I mean, you could even see it with like any empire. Darksaber.com.
The world's best porn site.
Well, the Darksaber, they got beat up.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll talk about that.
We'll keep that for later.
Oh my god! But I think
Black Series Darksaber.
I think
Black Series.
Black Series.
Yeah, baby. That's Auden's favorite category.
Not you.
The other audience.
Are we going to talk about, by the way, are we counting the Book of Boba Fett like episode and a half into this? Or
yeah, I have something to say about like,
yeah, I think you're about to get like,
because I think this season
he's gonna pull. He's gonna blow. You can't see, but his arms are, his
like,
hands were under the table,
what they
and
did.
he's getting ready to drop this like massive book. Why Disney deserves less.
Because if you ask me, I think like this season easily could have benefited from the content of those Book of Boba Fett episodes starring Mando. If you just ripped those, turn it into the first like 50-minute episode of this season, or the first 2 episodes of this. Cut out the Jack Black and Lizzo episode, and then
we don't talk about that.
And then overall, as a season,
wait, Lizzo was in the show. I don't remember seeing Lizzo.
The queen or like the queen
I don't remember seeing
Lizzo. Jack Black and the other girl, that was Lizzo.
No, are you being serious?
Yeah.
No, bro, I'm just saying, like, I don't remember an episode with Jack Black and Lizzo.
Oh yeah, me neither.
Oh, yeah, me neither.
There's no episode with Jack Black.
Why did they stop? I know we're talking about the TV shows, but why did they stop making the movies after 6? After the third one came out, like episode 3 came out, the 6th movie.
Haven't you watched all the billion footage of George Lucas saying, I'm done with this?
You know, like, they didn't make it. Like, they said, like, Star Wars ended like 5 years ago.
Yeah, I do think.
No, actually, no. Star Wars ended like 10 years
ago. He wrote the books,
though.
He wrote all the books.
There's like some games every once in a while, like Jedi Fallen Order. I heard they were gonna make a new Battlefront series, but they canceled that.
Oh, that's a bummer.
That is a bummer.
At least, hey guys, at least we have Force Unleashed 3 coming.
Yeah.
Really?
Really?
ballsy.
Okay, so we're moving on. What do you think about the end of the Darksaber?
Whack! Makes sense.
It's good.
Makes sense.
I don't know, bro.
Okay, so clearly there's an
Objection!
so
I'm with Panos. I was just like you were
That
telling
was a
me
Last Jedi moment.
it was just like it got crushed and then they just let it be.
Yeah, like they
Like
should.
that's the thing. It should have been
gone
more.
back to it.
It should have been more impactful.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate. So
Objection!
I told him when I finally watched the episode, I told him it would have been dope if, like, I don't mind the saber as a weapon being destroyed. How powerful would it have been if they took that black crystal and the first forge that they relit, they used the crystal as like a power source and
And then the
just
flames-
like a
and
giant
then the
black
flames are
power
all
source,
black.
just a
Black.
giant dark saber.
the
just
flames
shooting
the
out of
flames are all
planet.
black to determine to like show how diverse and culturally sensitive they are.
With the right hashtags, yes.
Hey, yo.
With the right hashtags, yes.
No, but I think they did it right.
Right?
They did it good by destroying it because I think what Star Wars suffers from is falling into this
Reusing the same
vicious
material.
circle of, oh, this happens, so this happens, so this happens. But then they come back to it. This happened, so this is gonna happen, so this is gonna happen. They finally broke the curse.
It's like
They finally
poetry, it
broke.
rhymes.
They finally broke it. Like, okay,
They-
they
yeah.
didn't do it justice, but just it's crushed now. Okay.
Yeah,
You
they
know?
should.
They
come
didn't do it
back to
justice. I'll
like-
give you that.
It's okay. Next thing you know is like next movie somebody just stapled both.
Yeah, it's like a
ends and
crush.
that's-
It's like a crush.
Yeah.
Like a
Chinky
random
Chanky.
Mandalorian
Episode eight.
stole it.
Yeah.
Episode 9.
Yeah, so the story is that Dave Filoni disagreed with Jon Favreau's writing, so he's just gonna reforge
Staple it.
He's gonna bring it back in the movie. He's gonna make.
He's gonna make a tape. He's gonna tape
Stay
it with
tuned for
Scotch
the
tape.
Ahsoka series coming August 2023. Is it August?
Yes, it is August.
Mhm.
No. See, Ahsoka is gonna reforge this. She's gonna split the crystal in two and put it in her lightsabers.
So then she can be a beige saber.
Well, she
So I
has
need
nothing
to
to do
change
with the
my underwear
Mandalorian.
saber.
But as far as like us, okay, wait. I think that breaking the Darksaber makes more sense because the Darksaber was sort of this unifying like weapon. It was a weapon. Sorry.
If it
It-
broke,
it was-
she should not have a hand anymore.
No,
Bo-Katan
it
should
was
not have
leading.
a hand.
It was leading.
No,
to
no,
it.
but like, okay, wait.
It was leading to it.
So they broke it.
I think it
because-
was just too sudden, bro.
Man, shut the.
Chris, it's called conversation, motherfucker.
I'm trying to say something.
Listen here, buddy.
I'm trying to say something. His ADHD's popping up, bro. So they broke the Darksaber, in my opinion, because it's like they're trying to break away from that. The thing that kept them, not only from kept them fighting, but like it was the one thing that unified everyone. So now it's like instead of unifying around the Darksaber, they're unifying around a leader
A person.
and a person, right? So for example, in Clone Wars, why did Pre Vizsla have any chance against Satine?
Yeah, the
Yeah,
pacifist.
Satine.
The
Yeah.
pacifist. Yeah.
Yeah. The reason why is because he had the Darksaber, but she didn't. So he was seen as some fundamentals as the owner of the Darksaber. As the person, he was seen as like the leader of Mandalore because he owned the Darksaber.
Yeah, that is interesting, but it's not all. It doesn't represent the same thing to all Mandalorians either.
Yeah, because
though.
some
Din
Mandalorian were
Djarin,
pacifists.
like when
Exactly, yeah.
Din goes up to her, right, and then he like swears his fealty to her. He's like, I follow you because I see a leader, and he's kind of making the point you're making about it.
Yeah,
It's
but-
like the Children of the Watch, for example.
No,
The
no.
Darksaber has no significance
Yeah,
beyond like,
he's right.
oh, that's fucking cool.
Yeah, but
Right?
for example, let's look at Axe Wolves' group, right?
Yeah, to them it's very
Because
important.
they're
here's the thing: we're talking about this before.
Diaspora Mandalorians don't care.
No, exactly.
Only the Concordia student.
Poli sci.
Oh my god!
You need to add that soundbite, and anytime one of us says something stupid, Concordia.
But actually, stupid. the destruction of the Darksaber for me, it's like a unified of all the factions together, like the Children of Watch
So the
and the
destruction.
Night Out. Like because it's destroyed.
It's
For the Night Out, like Axe Wolves group, because it's destroyed, they have nothing to believe in. Like whoever wields it can rule Mandalore, but it's destroyed. So who's gonna rule Mandalore? It's gonna be in the beliefs of the Children of Watch. That what Din Djarin told Bo-Katan. So like
So you think-
character and like a good leader.
well, do you think it's gonna be more of like a monarchy now? Because we're gonna have a Yas Queen of Mandalore.
Yeah.
Well, monarchy's not bad if you're girl bossing.
I'm gonna come.
I don't know about you, but Queen Lizzie,
But
it ain't the same without her.
Lizzo's gonna be the ruler of Mandalore.
No, not Liz, bro. I meant
But
Queen Elizabeth.
Panos when he sees Lizzo.
Baby girl.
Okay. All right. That's fine. It's like a
With all due respect.
Well, I think it's gonna be a monarchy, but I think it's gonna be a respected monarchy. I don't think it's gonna be a full authoritarian where like Bo-Katan has all control. It's not gonna be like that. There's no way.
But at the
There's
same
gonna be
time,
like
she
there's gonna be
did lead them
Mandalorian
to
parliament.
victory, and she did defeat Moff Gideon. So even if the Darksaber is not in the
She
picture,
didn't beat
technically,
Moff
yeah,
Gideon,
technically it
Grogu
was
beat him.
technically it
Bro,
was
technically
his
it's actual-
forces. No, it was his forces.
technically it's a ship.
Yeah.
Technically it's Moff Gideon's
the
own
ship's the
ship.
ship. the rule of
it's
Mandalore.
always a bigger ship. No, it's his fault that he died.
Who, Moff Gideon's?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, big time.
Because he built that ship.
that's
and
not
then
Moff
they
Gideon.
jacked it.
That's
No,
not-
okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
Oh my
we're gonna
God.
get back to-
Can we not, please?
Bro, because he didn't have that
The
mustache. Because he didn't have the mustache.
Star Wars
Okay.
theory be like,
You have what I want. A mustache.
Cowboy theory.
Ram Ranch. Throbbing.
throbbing Darksabers.
Sabers.
Stop.
But in my opinion, I feel like it was too sudden. It's like all that shit was happening, and
And
then
then there's
it just get crushed, and then they move on. It's like I thought
it got
they should have made it more impactful, like
Bro.
it being blown up, and you're like,
remember
like,
when IG-12 was in that market and he takes the fucking fruit and he squeezes it? That had more suspense than the fucking like Darksaber breaking.
Then the rights were actually getting crushed. Yo, Bo-Katan
No.
should have said like,
No.
should've-
No.
no, no.
yes,
No.
yes.
No. Chris, you know what it almost
Wrong,
sounded like when
Daddy.
he was hitting those buttons?
Wrong.
Shame. Shame.
Well, I just think the scene is interesting because you see it's Moff Gideon in his suit, in his suit that he made, right, out of Beskar, destroying technically a Mandalorian piece of tech, an armor, a sword, basically.
Yeah.
Right?
Isn't the sword
But
made out of Mandalore?
Exactly, it's
Yeah.
made of Beskar.
But it's- but I heard-
I
I
don't
heard-
understand how.
No,
The theory that I heard was
the Darksaber's hilt is made out of Beskar. It's
Yeah,
just a
so how
fucking
could it
lightsaber.
get destroyed?
It's a
It's
lightsaber,
not.
bro.
It's not. I think it's just a regular lightsaber.
Yeah, just a
No,
lightsaber.
no,
bro.
it said it was in
No.
in Boba Fett in Boba Fett Book of Boba Fett
Go.
that episode where Mandalorian the armor said, "Oh, this saber is made out of pure Beskar."
What?
Wasn't
I
he
don't
talking
know.
about the? Wasn't
This-
that the,
this.
No, wasn't that the thing there?
Well, I don't
wasn't
know,
that the
you
staff
can
that
fact check,
used that
but
Ahsoka used?
yes,
against
that's
made out of.
that is pure
Beskar.
Beskar too.
It
but
was all made out of Beskar.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No
told you,
way.
yeah.
I never.
That's why.
Bro, I
Yeah,
never
That's why
knew that,
I
bro.
don't
According
understand.
according
it
to Wikipedia,
no, it is.
Star
It's
Wars theory.
it's
the
made of
dark
Beskar.
the Darksaber was an ancient black bladed. It was an ancient black bladed lightsaber.
See,
It
black bladed
had a
5
unique
times.
blade that was
Black
shorter
bladed,
than that of most lightsabers and shaped like a
Black bladed,
traditional
black
sword.
bladed.
Shut up. Shaped like a traditional sword. Its overall profile was distinctly Mandalorian with an angular pommel, handguard, and slit-shaped blade emitter. All of which was made out of Beskar.
Yeah, there was made out of Beskar. That's why I don't understand. Okay, could Beskar? Well, was his glove or I don't know? Was it made of
Well, like he said that this was
Beskar?
he was a he was also a dark trooper at the same time.
Well, what he was?
So he had
It's a mech suit.
so
he
it was a
was-
mech. It
it's
was
a mech suit.
imagine imagine
It's a Beskar mech suit.
a Bexar.
Beskar mech
Bex-
suit.
This
Bex-
sword is made out of
Bex-
Beskar.
No.
Okay, but can that can that actually?
Aaron Belegas Luzai.
That's literally the best soundbite.
Mama Kunim.
Mama Kunen.
But like technically, he didn't like he just crushed it since it's a small piece of metal. Like I guess you can
Well-
mold it, right?
Well, here's the
To a
thing.
certain
Here's the thing.
extent.
He had because it was a mech suit plus it was Beskar, so it was like the
Okay.
strength of the same thing that was made the hilt out of,
Plus mech suit.
plus the mech suit,
Okay.
which was enhanced strength that broke it. Last question that I want to ask you guys is thoughts on the show, and then we'll give a rating. Go ahead.
The show as a whole, or just the last season?
No,
The last season.
That's
Okay,
very
the
important.
seasons 1 and 2.
Uh,
Seasons 1 and 2 were. Okay. But like, what about the third season?
Disappointment, honestly. Except the two last episodes that were bomb. They were really good. Actually, I would put it in my top 5, the episode 7. But the first 6, that episode 3 with like we don't care about what happened to this like
The scientist.
yeah, what was his name?
Dr. Pershing.
Pershing. Dr. Pershing. Like
I disagree so
you could
strongly.
no, okay. You could have kept it, but don't make a full like it was the longest episode of the whole show, and like everybody was so excited, and especially like when you went on Disney Plus, the first thing you saw was Bo-Katan. You're like, okay, it's gonna be a show how. Like an episode about Bo-Katan and then Din Djarin escaping the Imperials. That's what was your first thought. And then you go and see it's literally 40 minutes of Dr. Pershing and the...
But bro, space popsicles.
Bro, the daylight.
Okay, you could have
The
put
top
it, but
of Mount
for
Everest.
10 minutes.
You can't touch.
That you can't touch. Can't touch.
I think I disagree, but like ideally I would be agreeing with you. I think it's stuff that that's the kind of shit like New Republic Society and stuff. That's the kind of shit
I know,
and
but,
world building
we
that
live
should
in
have
a
been
society.
in the films, in
I
the
think
newer films. So I feel like now sometimes the Mandalorian show is gonna have to pick up the slack on the world building front, because if you really think about it, we have like how many planets?
We only
now?
had
There's
Andor
like,
world building.
There's like we have like the place where Luke is building a little fucking like little mini Stonehenge, and then there's
Jakku, which is
Navarro.
Tatooine 4.0.
No, I'm talking about like in Mandalorian. I'm saying
Oh.
there's so many different planets we've been to already and seen so many different like new aliens, older aliens on newer planets.
And Zelens.
Like yeah, like see, like it's just I don't know. I feel like we've learned a lot more about the world of Star Wars after the original trilogy through this show than we ever did with 9 hours of feature film content.
What movies are you talking about?
The anthologies.
The Star Wars Holiday Special.
No, but we
Happy
did
Life
see
Day.
we did see a lot of that in Clone Wars too. Like, are you talking about like a civilian in that, like not civilian like
Yeah, but Clone Wars was like prequel era. I'm saying like
okay and
once the
sequels
Emperor dies
after that okay.
since then there hasn't really been a lot of world building about how the world works.
But
and, like,
there wasn't that
kind
much
of
material that was released after that too, so like we could have come back to it from another show, but makes sense. But they could have just put it in a like just
they should
would
have
put
continued
10
the
minutes.
Rangers of the New Republic.
Yeah.
thing. I think they canceled that.
Yeah, exactly.
I think they canceled that
To make a season
because of
4,
what's
I
her
think.
face, Gina
Carano.
Carano. When they forced her to leave the show, and she was probably going to be the star
Oh yeah.
of that series, right? And she was going to be there with the Kim's Convenience X-wing pilot guy.
The GOAT.
Yeah,
Kim's
Honestly,
Convenience.
Carson Teva.
Tifa.
And so like they were probably going to be the duo. They axed it, so now I think they're just incorporating like the plot points they were going to set up there for the Thrawn
this-
movie that they're
think
making.
so too.
I think they're going to sprinkle it in throughout Mando.
Watch
And
they
so-
watch they bring back Gina Carano just to kill her off in like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
I'm glad they didn't kill off the
Off-screen
character
death.
though.
Yeah.
Hey man, I'm gonna go off this way now. Oh, what happened to Cara Dune? She died. Okay.
I do like that they gave her like some BS like special mission thing. 'Cause
Yeah.
then she can show up in books. She can show up in video games. Like regardless of what you want to say about the actress, like
They
I thought
could bring
the
her back
character
if they
was
want
really
to.
fun.
Like in
when
and animated too.
Oh, okay, so
Kathleen
Kennedy.
when Miss Kennedy leaves, like
Bro,
they're
this
gonna
guy
bring
calls her
back.
Caitlyn. He calls her like Christina. He like is Christina
Yo.
Kennedy.
Calls her Amber Heard. Amber Heard
Yo.
Kennedy.
Dave Filoni for Lucasfilm president.
I liked it at first, but then thinking about it, like it was out of all 3 seasons, it was the weakest season.
Yeah.
But I think like it just like they could have found a better way. Like I get the world building and stuff, like I'm all for it. Like it's good. But I do agree that we were really waiting for like really heavy, intense episodes, and there was a lot of episodes that were just felt out of place a bit. Every episode had good scenes, had good character development, world building, but it's just like the final 2 episodes were really what we wanted, but throughout the whole season, you know what I mean?
I felt like a lot of the arcs were very limited in terms of like for example, what was the big thing that the Mandalorian did in the last season? He took his helmet off, right? And what was the big thing that happened in Book of Boba? He was like excommunicated basically and told to go to the living waters. And how many episodes does it take to resolve that?
1. Literally the 2nd episode, it was done.
Bro, the Mythosaur cock tease.
Oh, yo,
that
like okay.
was bad.
Oh, no,
Oh my
yeah.
god, bro.
Oh my god.
They teased it
Maybe
twice,
season 4.
though.
Season 4. But at that point, it would have been so much more epic in the finale, like she
Yeah.
raged the Mythosaur.
No, but
that was like nuts.
They did that for a reason, because obviously, or in my opinion, it's gonna be Grogu's gonna be riding the Mythosaur, because
he has
the
the whole animal thing.
Because he talked to
the
it.
animal thing
I'm
you
sure
can
he
like
talked to it. He spoke
force.
with it.
Like, yeah,
I'm sure he
exactly.
spoke
No,
with it.
no, the Mythosaur sensed the Grogu.
Yeah.
So that's why, and he's gonna be a he's gonna be a Mandalorian because his dad.
He's gonna be the
is a
greenest Mandalorian of all time.
True.
The smallest.
Well, my overall thought of the season was very mid. Like, it wasn't anything impressive. We spent a lot of time off-world, world building, but like, for what? And at the end of the day, we just literally came back to where we were. No, we started off as a space cowboy with his kid going on an adventure. Where are we at now?
Exactly.
Space
the same
cowboy
thing.
going on an adventure with his kid.
He just helped his people,
faction,
his people come back
Yeah.
to where they're from, and then he just left and dipped. And now, as we can see, he's working with the New Republic now.
That's it.
And not only that, like I feel like the whole thing with like the ending of season 2, and then the whole thing of bringing Grogu back right away, and like people who
another
didn't watch
show,
Boba Fett,
that
like it
destroyed
really-
the hype.
In another
it really
fucking
it really had an
television show,
impact.
That destroyed the
if
hype.
they
of
had
the show.
if they brought back Grogu at the end of the season, that would have been more impactful.
or
even mid-season.
yeah,
but
exactly,
just, like-
mid-season, like how they introduced Ahsoka and like in season 2, how they introduced Ahsoka, and then that led to Luke Skywalker. They could have done something like that with Grogu in the season 3.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things they could have done different, but I think this season 3, like there was just a lot of stuff happening at Disney.
Yep.
Like I was hearing like John Favreau like wasn't
Yeah,
happy
there was
with
a lot
like
of
Kennedy, and then like apparently
Kennedy.
even Pedro Pascal, they
Yeah, I
said
think
like
everybody's
he
using
was
this
doing
lady as a scapegoat.
he-
though.
Yeah.
he was doing Last of Us, and then like he had like beef with like some people on set, so like that's why he was not present in the first episodes, and you saw a lot of scenes where like literally Din wasn't in them and was only coming in to do lines and stuff.
You can just have his stunt double do it. And
No,
then
but
he
that's
just
what
voices it.
happened.
Voices later.
He
but-
wasn't as present in the season, so a lot of things got affected. I think
I
season
don't know
4
if
they're
it
gonna
goes into a whole bunch of drama, this, that. It could be the guy was just busy with The Last of Us and like all the 80 billion other projects that they want him for because
Yeah.
he's the internet's daddy.
right
and,
now
like,
at this point, yeah.
And I like, but there's definitely, it's clear that there was a troubled production, and
Yeah.
unfortunately, like, I actually think this season's a testament to like how you can have a troubled production and still end up with like, if you're with talented people, like even your half-baked stuff might end up okay.
Yep.
Like I don't think this season is trash by any means.
No, it's not
it's
trash.
it's
not
not
It's
garbage.
it's not
It's
trash.
not
It
subpar.
wasn't-
It's not even average. It's still a cut above most television out there.
Yeah, I agree, but it's
Um,
just not as good as what
yeah.
we
The
got. So that's why
I
it's
still
really
think the
disappointing.
first season is still the best, though, in my opinion.
The first and second season, the honestly for me they're both equal. Just the first season, it was originality. It's just everything like brand new. You see everything.
The
new,
vibe
new.
was immaculate.
Yeah, and then after the second season, cameos, but well put cameos. So like it felt refreshing as well. So that's
It kind of felt like all the Star Wars universe was starting to come together.
Yeah, exactly.
But then, like, they really only used
I felt the Ahsoka cameo was a bit of an ass pull, but like
No, it makes,
it's-
in my
it's
opinion, it
not
makes
so
sense.
bad. And the minute she said Thrawn, I was like, oh, okay.
That would make sense.
But she kind of left Rebels before the whole Thrawn thing started anyway, so I don't know.
Well, makes sense. Well, maybe.
Well,
that
they
part.
probably
Like, at the end of
contacted her.
Rebels, we saw her come back.
Oh yeah,
in
Gandalf
her,
mode.
yeah, in her her mission, we saw that her
Plus,
mission was
plus Ezra had
Sabine's-
gotten captured. So, like, there's the whole thing with...
Well, he
You
got
know, like,
he got
Oh.
space whaled.
Space Whale. No, he made it Space Whale.
What the fuck?
Okay, so...
Are we running through numerical ratings?
No, there's going to be 4 ratings, okay? So, it's based on sound effect. So,
Okay.
so the lowest one is...
It's the biggest piece of dog shit.
The second one is...
I mean, it's all right. Like,
Yeah.
the third one is... And the fourth one is...
that's what I'm talking about.
I mean, it's all right.
It's alright. Yeah, it's
But-
It's all right.
But the last 2 episodes, that's Ice the goat.
no, but it's bro. It was fan service. It was fan
No,
service
honestly,
at that point.
It was
Okay, episode 7 was very good because Paz
The
Vizslá's
action
death.
was really good. Like the air action, I was
Bro,
surprised.
literally
Bro,
so much
CGI,
CGI.
the
episode-
CGI,
The
yeah.
jetpack usage, I think
yo,
they've
that
nailed how
was
they're filming the jetpacks.
point. Like it was amazing.
It would have been really cool to see personally if throughout the season, if they did sort of like... They always say, like, I read like the whiteboard that they have at Disney. That's like what they want to include and stuff. And one of the things they want to include is no main characters. There's not like one singular main character. It's multiple main characters.
That's
which
whack.
makes...
If they're gonna continue down that route, I think the show's gonna go to shit.
No, but what I'm saying is that you can do that, but because it's called Mandalorian, obviously you want to have one main character, which is the Mandalorian. But at the same time, Grogu has always been the kind of the main character as well. So if they want to add people to that, that's
they
fine.
They both took a back seat this season.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
So they both took a back seat
for
Bo-Katan.
No, not just Bo-Katan, but just for the whole
Like
Mandalorian
Mandalorians
in general. Yeah, because
So
what
they're going to
what
rename
is
the show to The Mandalorians.
Chapter 4, Chapter 25.
Wait, it could be like, or they could just make a new show called The Mandalorians, and it's kind of like Aliens kind of thing.
Mandalorian versus Mandalorians.
It's like Terminators.
As far as like obviously Paz Vizsla had like the most development out of anyone.
Oh, big time. Yo, his son like
Ragnar. Rip. Well, yeah, but his son didn't die.
No, like
died.
meaning he lost his dad.
But as far as like Paz Vizsla's death was really like it was well placed, I guess.
It was well done.
I think one of the biggest problems. Okay, this is I think in my opinion the biggest problem with the show is that there is no risk taking. There's very little risk taken in this
season 2 splitting up the two main leads. Okay. That's a fucking risk.
Yeah.
That's a moment, right? Like even now you think back to that moment of them splitting up and you're like, oh fuck.
Shit. Yeah, exactly.
Like, fuck.
Oh fuck.
like, although I'm bummed that they reunited earlier, like I still don't think it takes away from like the emotional punch of that scene.
Sure.
Like,
I think they should
works.
like he said like earlier, they should have brought it back mid-season.
I think it kind of does because it's like if you built up now that you rewatch the show, if you're gonna rewatch it and then you know that for a fact that Mando season 2 Grogu leaves, but in Mando season 3 he's back. Like,
yeah, no, exactly. Like in my opinion, the episode in Book of Boba Fett ruined the hype and the expectations for
season
3 because like okay, first season at the end, the season finale, what was it like? The biggest cliffhanger, it was the Darksaber, right? Moff Gideon brought the Darksaber. Season 2, it was they separated. Now season 3, we're going in, we're like, we already know he got back, so it's like, oh, what is it gonna be about? Like, you lost that hype and like, I don't know, they just ruined it.
Yeah, like literally, we had no idea what season 3 was gonna be.
Yeah, exactly. Like we knew it's gonna be come back on Mandalore, but like we're like, the main episodes, like, what are they going to be about? Like, there was a lot of, in my opinion, maybe fillers. Like in
in this season,
yeah,
a lot of filler episodes and stuff. As far as but as I said, it was Mandalorian.
I didn't want to steal your joke there, so I left it for you.
Thank you.
Nice.
Thank you guys for watching. It was really fun. It was a great discussion we had. I know this is probably the most analytical anyone's gonna get about the Mandalorian because everyone's bitching about it and everyone's calling it complete dog shit. I really can't see out of this helmet, so we're going to continue on. Thank you guys for watching, and remember,
subscribe to the Shade Cinema podcast.
This is the way.